This AskReddit user asks, survivors of COVID, what changes have you noticed to your health since you've recovered? Came into this thread expecting the dawn of the superhuman era, but it seems like COVID just FD everybody sideways. Edit, alright. I've gotten a couple of strongly worded messages with the correction of my apparent ignorance. I am aware of the successes from COVID and I am aware that it is not. In fact, everybody. I'm exaggerating. I came into the thread to make sure I wasn't crazy for thinking that I should still worry tremendously about getting COVID. Especially as a health late 20s runner. Good to know my thoughts were on FG point. You should. My best friend is a healthy 23-year-old. So am I. For that matter. She got COVID in March. Had a fever for over a month. These days she still experiences moments of shortness of breath and heart racing. Just a few weeks ago. She went to the grocery store and that alone winded her. She had to take 2 months off of work. And she's lucky, she only needed to be in the ER for 1 night. But there are also plenty of success stories too. My friend and his dad both got it. His dad actually just had heart surgery before he got it too. While he did have it bad, he survived. My friend, a hiker, 30s, skinny, had no fever, no shortness of breath, only lost his sense of smell. He says he feels perfectly fine. And yes, they both got tested and were positive. So I just finished recovering from it. I had it in the 1st of June. My sense of smell hasn't come back. I had it mildly, a mild fever and shortness of breath. I would get out of breath doing usual activities like showering or just sitting at my desk. Me and a few other friends I know who have had it have noticed getting weird sneezing fits since. We all assumed it was hay fever or allergies but had a conversation the other day and realized all of us have this symptom. Even those that didn't have allergies, hay fever before. Absolutely nothing. I smoke a pack a week and am not in great shape. Never had the first symptom. Only got tested cause I came in contact with a positive at work. So you were asymptomatic? You tested positive but never experienced any symptoms that you weren't used to as a smoker? Not a single one. Very fortunate. I'm really happy for you that you didn't get sick at all. That's also really great to hear. I smoke about the same amount and suspect I was exposed in December when both my parents had the worst illness of their lives with symptoms matching COVID. Can't get a test without symptoms though where I am. Normally I would think it's completely bogus, but I honestly am coming around to the idea that nicotine in the bloodstream partially inhibits the virus. COVID-19 positive is full of heartbreaking stories of people still suffering 70, 80 days out. I am 28. I had it in late March. I was short of breath for about a month. After that I'm back to feeling 100% normal. Like it never even happened. Same experience here. Maybe up to 2 months with short breath. Mostly when exercising. Never without any exertion. Brand new now also. I had it in mid-May. Completely asymptomatic. The only reason I even got tested was because my husband and son both came back positive after they lost their sense of smell. No change at all in my overall health. The rest of my family recovered from their mild cases within 10 days and have no lingering effects. I am 34 and both of my kidneys now have reduced function. I originally was sick in late February. My doctors tell me that I could have reduced functionality for the rest of my life. Hope they recover. How did you find out their function reduced? What were some signs? Not me but a friend of my mom. She is still recovering after several months. She sometimes faints out of nowhere and has a breathing problem. She also has asthma, so that didn't help either. And this is why I hate all the people treating it like it's over. I have asthma and if I get sick who knows if I will ever fully recover. But no, it's fine, you go act like hundreds of thousands aren't dead already. The virus doesn't exist. And if it doesn't exist, It doesn't kill anyone. And if it kills anyone, it's just a few people no one cares about. And if it kills a lot of people, those numbers are being faked by the CDC. And if those numbers are real, it's all China's fault. We did nothing wrong. And if we did anything wrong, it was because of Obama. The narcissist's prayer for 2020. I'm 22 years old, and despite all probability the disease hit me really hard. I was in the hospital for 3 weeks and had the usual symptoms such as high fever, dry cough and severe breathing difficulties. Meanwhile, I am healthy for nearly 2 months, but my lungs are partially scarred and I have problems getting enough air during even slow running. So I hope you stay safe and take care. It's not only old people who are suffering under COVID and its effects. I wheeze constantly while breathing and still get shortness of breath just doing simple things like walking upstairs or picking up my kids. And I even had to use my inhaler after unloading groceries the other day. Exercise has been out of the question. I had COVID in early March. I am 69. When I recovered, I was short of breath for a couple of weeks. I might still have slightly reduced lung function still, but I am almost back to normal. 69 nice. If I live to be 69, I'll lie about my age for 350 more years. Until 420 for the quick maths. My grandkids thought my dying on 4 to 20 when 69 would be cool. Add to that I have avoided the coronavirus, and I think that's pretty cool. I'll be 70 in a little over a month. First sign of symptoms started March 13th. Kicked my ass so hard I quit smoking. Once the lingering cough subsided, and being able to resist my cravings for my vape or a cigarette, I feel better. But not the same. I'd always had this weird point of pride for my lung capacity. I could hold my breath for a while, and I could swim your average apartment pool lengthwise twice on one breath. Even though it doesn't feel like I lost much capacity. I tried to swim underwater and couldn't even make it one go at my apartment's pool. I also can't belt it in my car like my voice isn't complete ST2. I'll start coughing and feel lightheaded pretty quickly. I don't feel like I lost lung capacity. But it's fairly obvious to myself that I did. Also, my sense of smell and taste have never really been the same. I couldn't smell onions for weeks, if that gives a good frame of reference. All things considered, I had a very mild case. But it still felt like I had walking pneumonia for 3 weeks. In my case, sounds like yours is similar. It's not the actual amount of air you can get into your lungs that has been impacted, but it feels like I'm getting less oxygen from the same amount of air. That lasted for about 2 months for me. Just getting proper normal now. Also encouraged me to stay off vape smoking. Okay, not me or anyone I know, but a lot of YouTubers I watch got it. Sydney Watson and Rebecca Parham from Let Me Explain Studios most notably. I was sick for 45 days. Have been recovered for a couple months. I've had some cardiac complications that are hopefully not permanent. Lingering fatigue I can't shake. Very unstable appetite. Lots of joint pain that comes and goes. Fainted a few times. I'm recovered. But I don't feel normal a lot of the time. I'm 26. My dad is 62 and had it as well, and he's had severe joint pain after. Neither of us can handle alcohol anymore either. One drink and I feel like ST the next morning. The diversity of symptoms from one person to the next is just horrifying. It's like COVID spins a wheel to see which organ system will I mess up for this particular person. Quote, my girlfriend is pretty informed about COVID and she says there are 8 different strains, so maybe that explains how people have different experiences. Oh Lord. Does that mean we need 8 vaccines? Deathly sick for 3 weeks. Brief stint in hospital thinking I was going to die. I have asthma and previous pneumonia. I've slowly recovered, but still very weak compared to before COVID. My husbands and I had COVID-19 in addition. We are from NYC. I developed pneumonia. As I have asthma. The thing I noticed the most after recovering is that my lung function decrease. I described it to my doctor as I feel like someone who hasn't run and is starting out and has no stamina. Every action seems to makes me breathless. My asthma, which was well controlled prior to COVID-19 and pneumonia, has been a nightmare to try and control ever since. None of my old meds work anymore. So my doctor and I have been trying to find a new regimen. I'm thankful for prednisone. My husband, who isn't asthmatic, also said that the issues he continues to face have to do with his lungs as well. He says he feels like he can't get a good deep breath anymore. Also, my sense of taste has changed. I lost my sense of smell. It's mostly back, but things don't taste the same anymore. COVID-19 was awful. I've never had chills like that before. Full body racking chills that lasted for weeks. I've never been simultaneously burning hot and freezing cold at the same time. 0 tenths do not recommend. Had it in early February. Extended cough. Months worth. Seriously, I'm still occasionally coughing and I've never had flu or anything before. High fever for 3 days. Loss of taste and smell for a month. Other than a lingering slight cough, my health has been fine. I had no underlying health issues though, and I'm 34. I never usually get sick. Coughs, flu, colds. My kids haven't been sick. Ages 9 and 15, but I've recently received an NHS antibody check for my 9-year-old, which will be interesting. From my research, it seems like the antibody tests have a lot of false positives and negatives. It's deemed as low as 50% reliable. What's your thoughts on the antibody testing? Since you're relying on it? My understanding is a lot of the more recent versions are a lot more accurate. My grandparents both got COVID in March. For a while, my dad, aunt, and uncle cared for them at my grandparents' house. Eventually, my grandma went into the hospital, where they put her on a ventilator. My grandpa resisted a while because he's very any doctor in general. But eventually we convinced him to go in. He went on high levels of oxygen, but never a ventilator. We were very scared that my grandma especially wouldn't make it. Amazingly, they were both able to pull through, and my grandma was released about 2 weeks ago. And my grandpa was released yesterday. My grandma somehow got nerve damage in her arm at some point during the process. We aren't entirely sure how. She has absolutely no use of her left arm, and is struggling with walking. But it's making quick progress walking with a one-armed walker. The doctors say her arm will likely heal over the course of a year. But for the moment she is pretty much unable to do any cooking, cleaning, etc. My grandpa is in much worse shape. He really wasn't ready to be released. But the insurance forced him out. He is still on fairly high oxygen. Grandma is completely off of oxygen, and has a lot of trouble walking. Additionally, his appetite is completely gone, and it is a chore to get him to eat or drink. Both grandparents are slowly acting more and more like themselves. Although I suspect my grandpa will never be quite the same. Despite all of the things I have mentioned above, I still feel extremely grateful that both of them are still living today. The odds of both of them surviving the condition they are in at their age are remarkable. And I couldn't be more grateful. I'm 20 and I got infected 2 weeks ago. Right now I'm pretty good. The only change is that I'm still not able to taste and smell XD. Not a big deal for me. Caught it early on the 2nd of March when I showed symptoms. Knocked me on my ass. Couldn't breath at all. 3 months later I still feel like I've just had to run for a bus. Lungs have a cold burning feeling in them all the time. It sucks bad. Do you smoke at all? Live in the city? Non-smoker. Hike a good bit. Never had any breathing issues ever in my life. Live out in the country. How old are you? I got it a week and a half ago and am more or less symptom-free at this point. I haven't noticed a headache in about a week. And my sore throat hasn't shown up in 2 days. It impaired my insulin sensitivity. It took me 3 months of regular fasting to reverse this effect. My cardiovascular fitness declined. It took me 2 months of exercise to recover. I had to return my 1 year earlier exercise plan. I got significantly weaker. I had medium symptoms. Lasted for 16 days. Yikes. I'm having AHL of a hard time with blood sugars and breathing. I recently had to leave my job due to medical reasons. I'm 99% sure I had it in February and was placed in the ICU. The hospital and my paperwork won't confirm because Texas supposedly didn't have it at that period, but I don't see why I would be in the ICU for a week for elevated blood sugars. I don't see why I would be in the ICU for a week for elevated blood sugars. It's called either DKA or HHS. And complications thereof. Yeah, more DKA if you present with fruity breath. Ketones present in urine. And low blood pH. HHS is more subtle without the acidosis abnormalities but high presentation of blood glucose without the abnormal symptoms, so patients may be unaware. Both will have increased urinary frequency. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos.